I swear that all the foregoing as well as the testimony I gave it is the truth.
You just committed perjury, didn't you? Because you said you weren't guilty of the crime. You just signed the papers. But there you are swearing under oath that you're guilty of that crime and all lesser included offenses. Which lie are you going to tell? The one you just told me or the one under oath? You can't live with both of them. You boxed yourself in. Shame on you. Third or fourth. Bottom.
For Jay Nelson.
J. Brian Nissen,
Hey, Jake.
second from the bottom. Right after Gavin Bond.
Here's further.
Did I hand them to you with Gavin Bond?
Gavin. Three Gavins.
Was under the state attachment.
Okay, back in August 7th, the defendant pleaded true, correct? The two violations?
Yes,
Failing to report and failing to submit to alcohol and drug screenings. What did we do?
I made them an offer, Judge, and we reset it for them to consider the offer.
Okay, today is dispositions. I'm gonna make a move on this one way or the other, right?
That's my impression.
Okay, because that's what I would do.
My impression this was for a bond here.
No, it's not. It's to resolve the case.
Okay.
Yeah, because this was, we already entered the pleas. I mean, this is resolved. Do y'all have an agreement or anything?
No, Your Honor.
It's okay. What do you want? Okay. Look, a pre-sentence investigation update or revocation report has been prepared. You want to look at it?
I've got one here.
Okay. All right. Then, that page is summary is made a part of the record. All right, you are on deferred or unadjudicated probation. And let's see. The report and failing to submit alcohol and or drug screenings.
He was placed on probation.
It's just misdemeanors. I don't see a felony disposition. Okay. Now go ahead. You can go first.
Your Honor, Mr. Nelson has tried and made an honest mistake of not reporting.
How much time?
He hasn't committed any felony or anything like that. I think that an appropriate sentence would be in the low end of the range.
Raise your right. You swear on her being attention to the documents from correct?
There's a
And
Okay. Okay. Okay.
There was no restitution on this burglary, right?
No.
Go ahead. State.
Judge, and I have probation here with me if the court wants to hear from them.
Sure.
But
You want?
in reviewing the files, it looks like the defendant was sentenced to probation initially.
Wasn't it deferred?
Yes, sir. A
Yeah.
deferred probation in February of 2024. In May of 2024, he was sentenced to JCDI, and he was kicked out of that program. And so then he was sent to Safe P. September of 2024, all the way till February of 2026, he did successfully complete the Safe P. But after he got out of Safe P, this probation department has yet to hear from him as far as reporting and drug
Since
testing.
when?
March 31st of 2026. He completed Safe P in February
A
5th.
long cruise or something?
No, sir, I was working 7/12. And yes, sir, I'll let my supervisor get in my
Might
head.
as well have been on a cruise.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was working for, Robert LNG, Bechtel.
Okay.
My
But
supervisor. I know.
I don't, yeah, there's nothing in here about you're required to attend Bechtel.
No, sir, I know. I understand.
It was
Yes,
a
sir.
report, okay.
The client had his priorities wrong.
Yeah.
You think? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir.
Well, that's one way to get in trouble because here's the deal. What is the most important condition of probation?
Report it.
Yeah, because that's supervision.
Yes, sir.
You're supervised. If you don't report, they don't. You're not on probation. You're not on mine. You're on your probation.
I don't know how much safety time he has.
So what do? I ask you, how are you going to revoke yourself? And what are you going to give yourself? You know, it just, it's laughable because the way that it works is that, you have the responsibility and we supervise and you turn it around. You decide you were in control of supervision, which is only 5,000 probationers. We would be lost if they all decided they fix their own time.
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, but this was a shoe that was going to ultimately fall, and at least you're standing up for it. What's state asking for?
And Judge, I'm asking for something. This is a second degree felony. I'm asking for something in the middle range of the punishment penalty, so something around 10 years TDC.
Okay, 10 years and stand by, just one touch. Okay, what? You were on probation for a burglary of habitation.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And while on probation here, we've got failure to report and failure to submit to your analysis. There's always a reason why that sort of thing happens.
He was working the 7/12s, Your Honor. I mean, he placed his responsibility in the wrong place. Once I was retired, became involved, I found out there was a warrant for his arrest and he went down and turned himself in right away.
The underlying circumstances of this are terrible. Terrible.
And can I inform the court, I was just informed by the probation department that she was trying to accommodate his work schedule and he was on late night reporting and UAs.
Well, the late night reporting, I still got off later than what the late night reporting was. The only reason is my supervisor started getting my head about missing, right? Because I already done the app care and all that stuff. That's the only reason I let it get my head, and that's why I was not right in that. That's my fault. That's the only reason. Not because I was on drugs or anything like that. No, sir.
You were on drugs. I'm sorry.
No, I
You
said
were
not because
arrested.
ma'am, sorry.
You were when you were arrested for this burglary. They
Yes,
got methamphetamine on you.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, when I
Oh,
was
did
arrested.
somebody slip that on? Yeah, here's what's really strange is the people who were burglarized in the beginning. I mean, it's a man who suffered a stroke.
Yes, sir. Actually, that was a family friend. His ex-wife was sitting right there in the courtroom. I didn't even go in the man's house.
How did you have his pills in your
That
pocket?
was not. They were not.
That's what the police
No,
told
sir,
you.
that is not true at all.
That man's
They were in
pills.
the girl who I rode was car. I'm sorry to cut you off, sir. They were in the girl who I rode was car. They were not in my pocket.
Okay, what did you do wrong by committing burglary? You admitted to burglary of a habitation.
I signed on it because I was told to take the plea deal. That's the only reason. But I never.
Wait a
went to the
second.
house.
Say that again.
I was told to take the plea deal by my attorney.
That's all you did? You weren't responsible for the burglary, really?
Well, sir, I was responsible for riding there with her. I didn't, I mean, I'm taking responsibility by being on probation, but
Oh, what a tangled web we weave. When
all I did
first
was ride
we
her into probation.
act
She was
to
doing,
deceive.
yes, sir. I mean,
I think you've made a big mess. That's fine. We have paperwork. So you pled guilty to burglary and habitation,
yes, sir.
but you're saying today that you're not guilty of burglary and habitation.
I didn't know you found it.
Well, you just accepted you just made a plea.
I was told I was ready to do that or face 5 years, 10 years, however long it was at the time. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I applied for 4 years, and that's what the attorney told me was my best bet action, best course of action. So I can not have to go to prison.
Here. Over here.
Sir.
I highlighted the yellow portion. That's the plea papers you sign on the burglary back. Read the highlighted part at the top out loud. So everybody,
Guilty of the offense and the lesser included offenses charged.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Guilty of the offense and the lesser included offenses charged against me in the case. I swear that all foregoing as well, the testimony I gave is the truth.
Oh, would say that last sentence
I
again?
swear that all the foregoing as well as the testimony I gave is the truth.
You just committed perjury, didn't you? Because you said you weren't guilty of the crime. You just signed the papers. But there you are swearing under oath that you're guilty of that crime and all lesser included offenses. Which lie are you going to tell? The one you just told me or the one under oath? You can't live with both of them. You boxed yourself in. Shame on you. All you have to do is be honest. You can't even do that. You don't even pay it. The very up at to the very end, you're not lie and deceive. To the very end. You shouldn't do that when you're under oath. That's a crime. Plus, you tried to deceive all of us, which nobody likes. But you got what you wanted. You got your probation, although you're kind of stuck now because you swore under oath that you committed these crimes and you're looking at me and saying, I didn't do it. I just signed them because it was convenient. No.
The thing that should be done is that I was not his attorney.
I know you weren't. You wouldn't have done that. You would have, I know how. You ought to be over here, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is where the game's being played.
Yes, sir.
You can't even focus. You're looking at up to 20 years in prison and you're looking out into the crowd. What is that? Who's your fans? What?
I think his mother's.
My wife.
I don't think, did they get you to lie? When you,
No, sir.
they didn't? But they tried to get you to do the right thing. Well, that's why God invented paperwork for all of this, so that we could walk it through and see what the trail is honestly, not the bogus trail that people like you try to invent to try to deceive the court. All right. Anybody else want to add anything?
Nothing further from the state judge.
Nothing from the defense.
No. Here's what the court's going to do, Mr. Nelson, in 22-39759. In this motion to revoke probation, you have pleaded true to allegations 1 and 2, failing to report to the probation office as directed for April and May in violation of your probation order. And 2, failing to submit to alcohol and drug screening on 1, 2, 3, 4 different occasions, April and May, when you failed to report. And those are violations of conditions 4 and 5 of your deferred or unadjudicated probation order. I find this motion should be granted by a preponderance of the evidence or greater, and your deferred or unadjudicated probation is hereby revoked. Earlier in this case, you pleaded guilty voluntarily. You were mentally competent to do so. You understood the consequences of pleading guilty. There was sufficient evidence supporting your guilty plea from State's Exhibit 1 admitted in this hearing, of your plea hearing, to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt at that time, even though we deferred all finding of guilt. Now your probation is revoked. You are hereby found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of this burglary of a habitation of a poor invalid elderly man's home, of which his medication was found on you at the time you were arrested from inside his house. And you were found guilty of this terrible crime, a second-degree felony, a burglary of someone's home. You were hereby sentenced to confinement in the Institutional Division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to serve a term of 6 years. You will be given credit for all time you have served in accordance with this case. That's what we call justice.
I have to see that.
Nelson's own words ultimately became the biggest problem in the courtroom. After admitting the probation violations, he then contradicted the guilty plea he had already sworn to under oath. The judge wasn't buying I-10 with his probation. Revoked, Nelson was ultimately sentenced to 6 years in prison.